In this video help, I'm starting out in the author's list view for each one of the author's books that you want to look at. I wanted to point out a little tip here. You can see that when I copied this over, it was too large. What you can do is if you hold and you get that spyglass look and let go, you can go over to Style. And in this case, you can change the size. Let's go down to say size 12. Let's go a little smaller than that. And I can also change the font. I can make it bold, italic, and underlined. That's just not some of the nice little things you can do on the fly. So if I click off and then hide the keyboard and I click off, well, it's still a little too large. So let's go back and hold it down. And this is some of the kind of things that you end up by finding yourself doing. At 13, it went back. So let's go down to 11. And I should have said done. So that's the one thing I didn't do that I should have done. So let's go ahead and say done. And now when I click off, it should hold it at whatever size I put it in there. In this case, it still looks a little big, but let's not mess with it anymore. Let's get on to what we're actually working on today. In this case, in this lecture, what we want to do, we're currently now in the author's list, and this is the first place I wanted to come and indicate what we're doing. It shows the author's name, the book's name, and all the books that were in the author's file, once again, are not actually books in stock. But in this case, you would go ahead and put in the ISBN number in the regular record, and it would show back over here. Now, if you're in this screen and you want to look for a particular book by the name, this is an easy way to find it. You just go over and do a find or start it. And then in this screen over here, let's go ahead and do it. Look in this screen over here. Just type any of the first few characters of the actual book name. And when you do that, it'll bring up the book. Or even at you could go in as, I'm going to put in G because I know one of the author's name starts with G. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say do the find. And it found G within the two names here. So I just wanted to show you don't have to have everything in there that you're looking for. And now say like you had 1,000 books in the author's list. This will greatly reduce the amount of time you have to spend looking for a particular author and the book. And then you go click in to go back to the authors based on the record that you were actually looking at. Okay, so let's go back now that we've done a find. And I can also then cycle through the records from front to back, top to bottom. I can print the records. Now we went all through all of these here, so we know pretty much what we're doing. I just want to recap a little bit as we're going down through. So far we've covered customer. Now I'm going to do the customer's list view. And this is what the customer's list view looks like as far as the person's name, their address, city, phone, and cell phone. Let's go down to the next one, which is the book stock list view. And here's a list of all the books that are in your stock list. So that's an important thing to be able to search on to find. In this case, it's got the author, the book name, the book ID. Very quick to find it by book ID if you're looking for it especially. It should be very fast. The latest status on that particular book as far as it's available. It's not sold yet, so it's going to be cleared. Now this one needs to have a date if it was sold. And sometimes I just create a little bogus entry record just to test some things, and that's what we were doing here. And obviously you can go in and overwrite the data that's in this area and it'll just update all this, and then you would take off and make these available and take out the sold dates and the purchase dates, and that way you would have the information that you actually need for this screen. Of course, you can change the prices in the actual, just clicking at the end of the record will bring up the book, and you can modify that record to fit your actual needs. Okay, and you can see I started even a blank one in there accidentally. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is we did the customer's list, we did the books in stock already, we've done the books stock list, the author and the author lists. Now I can go back and we need to go into book sales, but I want to show you the ancillary screens, and then I'm going to take time to do the book sales separately. So we got sales invoices. Now a sales invoice, there's a write-up here that tell you how to use this, and it's a little different on the iPad and iPhone than it is on the browser or in the cloud as far as I'm concerned, or on Mac or Windows. It's going to be a little bit different. Basically what you can do in here is you come over and you click, and the first thing you do is you pick the person's name in the list, and interestingly enough, it should have brought up the list of all the people. No text action available. Okay, that's fine. And in this case, what you could do is pick a record based on the ID of the person and or the record itself. In this case, what I would do if I'm in here and I wanted to go to B5, when I click on B5, look what it does. It knows, it's smart enough to know who bought that book, and it puts the information in there. If I go to the next one, like Lost World, it knows even the shipping address, and it will put that in there, and so forth. So B1. Now, let's say, for example, I want to maybe this person has several books, and right now we don't have that. When you click into several books, when you say, for example, Michelle Smith has bought 10 books. Well, when you click on anything where Michelle is in there, or you do a find on Michelle, it's going to show you all of the books that she's purchased. If she's already paid for the books, you can use the omit button to omit whatever record you're in, like Mother Goose. I can come over here and I can say omit the record, and it's out of there. And that way I can pick the ones that I want to actually invoice and get the full information for the invoice for those items. So the invoice is pretty straightforward as far as setting it up. And obviously, if you're picking by the person's name, that brings it down to literally the books that they have. And omitting is kind of a nice way to set up the thing. And now I want to show you over here. If you go back over now and you say show only omitted, it's going to switch back to the last omitted record. And that's the only thing that's going to show. So when you get ready to print it, you would go over and say do action, and you would say print records, and then you would print it. Now if I printed it and wanted to see what it looks like on the screen, I could go ahead and say print it, and then instead of doing a PDF, I could say save it to view it, and then it comes up and actually shows you what it looks like. And if you scroll down, you'll see the bottom of the invoice. And what that tells you is that you could print it, and that's what it's going to look like. Now both on the logo and on the information for your business, you would type that in and edit it to fit your needs. And on the other side, you just click on that when you're not in the actual thing over here. You click on it, and it will allow you to replace it with whatever you want to have put in there. You may have to mess around a little bit with it depending on the size of your logo, and avoid putting a large image in here. Make it as small but as worthy of being on your site as possible, so that you don't have a lot of data every time you create a new record that's going to add the icon every time, the logo, and that would use up some space, and you don't want to do that. Okay, and you can also export your own logo or delete it. You don't want to do that though. You can always paste over what's currently in there by picking whatever you want from your photo library on your iPad or from the desktop. When you're on the desktop, it will pick up whatever desktop image you have that you want to put in there. So that's pretty straightforward stuff. And then sales buyer data. This is really, really cool, because what this does, it pops up a list of all your sales. And if you want to go to a specific invoice, you can just click on it, and that's the record data for it that you want to go in. Say like you wanted to edit this, and you come into the actual sales booking sales, and this is the actual sales screen, which we're going to talk about next. But I want to finish the ancillary screens. How about books online list? This is an individual where if you have books that are listed online, you can come in here and do a find, and what it'll do is it'll find all the books by Amazon or a date, or you can go in and pick the actual book ID to find it, and then you see the information here. And then if you want to go see the actual book information, you can pop over in that screen and go to that particular record and then look at the list for where it's at. This is a bogus record I accidentally created. Okay, and then there's books online search, and this is the actual screen that you come to, and it's actually the one that you'll see on the author screen, where you actually add the name of the book and a website where you found it. And these are all the current websites that are listed in the application. These are very helpful, because what they do is they give you a starting point for a lot of the book sales locations, and you can actually have auction sites or whatever you want to put in here, or just any site that you want where you use it over and over again, where you want to go find it. Like I even have Google Books and Google Search. So you can have Google Books and go look at that and look up information for books, and Google Search would be just for general search, or calendar or whatever you want, maps or whatever within the application. So there's a lot of nice stuff. In order to add it, you don't add it over here. You click on Add New Record, you put the title in, and then you paste in the URL from the website that you're going to, and make sure that you do use the http:///. If you don't see that in the URL, add it, because it will not work unless that is shown. Okay, so adding new ones, you add it. If you want to edit a current one, you click on it and it allows you to edit it. If there's something, say for example, the URL is changed and it's not the correct URL, you can always paste in another one. Doing a search in here is really not functional, and it doesn't really mean anything because this is like having a list view within a certain screen where you can add stuff. Let's go over to the actual author screen so we can get the other side of this so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the online search. This is the drop-down list. And so if I put in Amazon Books, very quickly it comes up. It's very fast. It's almost faster than using a browser, which is quite interesting. You can sign in or log in here to your account. Once you've signed in and logged into your account, you should be able to pop back in there anytime you want. If you want to see the rest of the page, just slide one way or the other. And then you got all these extra links. You can use any link you want to, or the links above, it'll go there. And if you just change the link at the top, say like for example, you get somewhere where you don't want to be, just use the drop-down link to say go back to Google or whatever. It'll be very quick to get back out there where you want to be. Okay, so that is a lot of the ancillary stuff. Let's go back and make sure that we got everything that we want as far as the information from it. We did the book search, and of course then there's video help. And the video help right now, as you'll notice in this particular video, has several more lessons already set up to run. And by the time we're done, I think we will probably only have about 5 or so. Okay, so if you need any more help, go ahead and get in contact with us. Thank you.